Shara lived alone. Every night she came home, locked her door, and dropped her keys into a little bowl on her table. It was her normal routine. One night she went to bed early, really tired. Hours later, a sound woke her up. It was a simple sound, the sound of keys dropping into that bowl in her hallway. Her whole body went cold. She was alone. She had locked the door herself. She listened, but heard it nothing. It was a dream, she told herself. Finally, she got up to get a drink of water. She walked past the hallway and glanced at the bowl. It was empty. She felt so relieved. It was just her imagination. She went back to bed and pulled the covers up. That's when her hand touched something cold on her nightstand. It was her keys. They were right next to her bed, but they were not alone. Lying right beside them was another key, one she had never seen before. It was old, rusty, and it didn't belong to her. Someone had been in her house. They moved her keys and left one of their own. But sometimes the danger isn't inside your house. Sometimes it's coming through your screen. Mark worked from home on his computer. He had a small camera on top of his monitor for video calls. He never thought twice about it. Strange things started happening. Files on his computer would move. Programs he didn't open were running. Then he got a creepy email. All it said was, "You should get more sleep." He thought it was just a spam email. But one night, he was working on a difficult problem and said out loud, "I just can't see the fix." His phone buzzed instantly. A text from an unknown number. It was a picture of his computer screen with the exact mistake circled in red. He was terrified. He was all alone. He yanked the power cord off his computer. The room went dark. In the quiet, he heard a soft sound, a teeny whirring noise. He looked at his webcam in the dark. A little light on the camera, which should have been off, was glowing with a faint red light. Someone was watching him. Mark's story shows how technology can be used against us. But our next story is about an old fashioned fear, the fear of something living in your walls. Leo bought an old house to fix up. He loved it, but a week after he moved in, he heard scratching in the walls. He thought it was mice, but the scratching got louder. It became a slow, dragging sound. Scrape, drag, scrape from inside his bedroom wall. One night he got so frustrated. He put his ear against the wall to listen. The scratching stopped, and then he heard it, a wet, rat breathing sound right on the other side of the wall. He called expert, but no one could find anything. No animals, no holes. He started sleeping with earplugs. One night he woke up because he felt something inside his ear. Something small and cold was touching his eardrum from the inside. He jumped out of bed, screaming and sweating at his head. He never found what it was. The next day, he saw a new thin crack in the wall, and he was sure that from deep inside that crack, something was looking back at him. Leo's horror was in the walls of his house. But what if the horror follows you from one home to another? Our next story is a warning about a gift you should never ever accept. When Maya and David moved into their new apartment, they found a doll left behind. It was a creepy old porcelain doll sitting on the fireplace. A note with it said, "A welcome gift. Her name is Annabelle." They thought it was weird, but kept it. Then things started to go wrong. Their things would go missing and then reappear. They would smell strange perfume, and the doll seemed to be in different places than they left it. David decided to set up a camera on his phone to record the living room overnight. The next morning, they watched the video. At 3 a.m., the camera moved, but the doll didn't. The camera itself turned all on its own and pointed down the hall right at them sleeping in their bedroom. They were horrified. They threw the doll in the trash immediately. For 2 days, everything was fine. On the third night, Maya went to the kitchen for water. In the light from the open fridge, she saw it. The doll was back. It was sitting in the middle of the kitchen table, staring right at her. And in its hand was the same note they had thrown away. Some scary things don't stay gone, they find their way back. And for our final story, we have to ask the most frightening questions of all. What if the person you trust more is the one of you should be afraid of? Liam lived with his grandfather, who was getting forgetful and confused. Most nights were okay, but one night his grandfather came into the living room, shaking with fear. "Liam," he whispered, "there is a man in my room. He stands in the corner and watches me." Liam felt so bad for him. He checked the whole room. It was empty. To make his grandfather feel safe, Liam locked the bedroom door from the inside. "She," he said, "no one can get in now. You are safe." He stayed until his grandfather fell asleep, then unlocked the door and left. An hour later, blood-curdling scream came from the bedroom. Liam ran and threw the door open. His grandfather was pointing a shaking finger at the empty corner. "He's back," he cried. "He came back." Liam hugged him. "It's okay, Grandpa. The door was locked, remember? No one could get in." His grandfather turned to him. His eyes were suddenly clear and full of fear. He grabbed Liam's arm tightly and said, in a dead serious whisper, "I know. That's how I know he never left." 5 stories. 5 reasons to feel a chill when you are home alone. A strange key. A watching camera. A noise in the wall. A cursed doll. A grandfather's warning. So tonight, when you turn off the lights and your house gets quiet, what will you think you hear?